Persona 4 is a JRPG in the purest sense. It's very Japanese, it's 100 hours long, has a complex story, tons of characters, and includes a lot of mindless random battles as you try to get from A to B. You play as the silent protagonist named You, that is, Y-U. While your parents travel, you're shipped off by train to the tiny rice farming town of Inaba to stay with your uncle and younger cousin.
I'm your mother's younger brother, and that about sums it up.
That's me! He's not your uncle! He's your mother's younger brother.
While you're there for one calendar year, you go to high school. You'll make friends, join clubs, participate in sports, and solve problems that the locals have to pass the time. Heck, you can even get a girlfriend if you're lucky.
Can I say it again? I love you.
You know, the plot of almost every high school level anime on the planet. Then you hear of something called the Midnight Channel. The Midnight Channel will show you someone that is about to be kidnapped and murdered by an unknown force in Inaba. They can vanish in a moment's notice when no one is looking and the clock starts counting down the second that they're gone. The calendar system of Persona 4 gives you a very strict time limit, and it's up to you to save those poor people before the timer hits 0. But where did these people go? They're nowhere in this tiny town that the police can find. Well, turns out they've been spirited away into the TV world. I mean, of course, right? Why didn't I think of that? The evil force in Inaba uses the TV realm as a killing ground, since only a very select few know it exists, much less how to get there. The TV world is exactly what it sounds like. You literally go into the TV. And remember, this is the year 2008, so not everyone had a giant flat-screen TV in their house yet, so entrances are actually very few and far between that are big enough that you can actually crawl in. The TV world is always shrouded in fog when skies are clear in the real world, and vice versa, so you have until the fog moves from the TV world to the real world to save whoever's been captured. When the fog lifts in the TV world, shadows, or monsters, are easily frenzied at the sight of a human being and will just kill the person on sight, so you're always on a time limit and watching the local weather reports. It's up to you to rescue the victims, uncover the culprit, and see through all the lies and deceit that shroud the town before your one-year stay is up. So yes, Persona 4 is half high school simulator and half bog-standard JRPG. You have access to an elemental wheel of magic, plus swords and stuff. Exposing an enemy's weakness by hitting them with the right attack will knock them down, and if you manage to knock down all the enemies you're up against, you can do a finishing move and take them all out at the same time.
Aha! Is this our chance? Gotcha!
Rinse, lather, repeat countless times until you are pulling your hair out from the sheer monotony of the battle system. The fact that the dungeons are randomly generated doesn't help this very much either. Unfortunately, the answer to your problems 90% of the time is to just go level up a bunch. Money and good gear are desperately finite, and everything at the stores you visit will have you carefully budgeting everything to make sure you don't fall too far behind in the stats department. I gotta be honest, the dungeon crawling is actually the game's weakest point, since there are no puzzles, little in the way of variation, and like I said, it's all randomly generated. But Persona 4 is still one of the strongest RPGs of its time because the story is just phenomenal. With 100+ hours of game time to play through, you will meet a huge cast of characters. All of them feel like real people with their own goals, desires, and insecurities. You can spend time with them to see a number of side stories, all of which are touching and meaningful. Not to mention, you get rewards in the TV world for doing so.
It ain't just about hanging out with guys who understand you and telling the rest to get bent. You gotta make an effort if you want people to understand you. I wasn't even trying.
Spending time with party members can give them powerful upgrades and side abilities, and spending time with townsfolk can unlock a number of great benefits. My favorite is the Shrine Fox. He doesn't really talk to you, but he sends you on a number of side quests to help people's wishes at his shrine come true. In return, he follows you into the TV world and acts as a healing station at the entrance of the dungeons. For a fee, you can heal your whole party to full without any time passing, which is a must in the late game so you don't run out of time and have someone that was kidnapped die. And the more side quests you do for him, the cheaper his fees become, so it's a win-win. Time management is a must in this game, as performing certain activities will push the clock forward and bring you closer to a deadline to rescue someone at the end of your year in Inaba. This game is all about paying close attention and seeing through the fog of lies that plague the town. While you'll follow one suspect after another, people just keep getting captured, and people's stories keep not adding up. Only a true gamer who really loves a mystery story and can pay attention and take notes will be able to figure out who's really behind all this. In the meantime, you'll be dealing with some very real-world issues. You can't be the sword-swinging savior of the world all the time. You still have to go to school and talk to your family and stuff. Things like dealing with your sexuality.
So, I started thinking, what if I'm the type who never gets interested in girls?
Inheriting the family business.
Historic inn? Manager training? I'm sick of all these things chaining me down.
Feelings of emptiness or loneliness in a socially awkward time in your life. They're all very human problems that you'll be pushed up against and try to deal with. Yu's friends are basically a grab bag of insecurities, and all of his townsfolk and family members that he gets close to are basically the same. They all need help.
It must be tough for you, but that's what it means to become an adult, little by little.
You'll see places that are falling apart because a big department store is shutting out all of the mom and pop shops around town. You'll even see really heart-wrenching things like broken families, deep-seated confidence issues, and more. The game has a massive cast of complex characters to work with, and you will feel for all these people. They're not cardboard JRPG cutouts like you might expect. They get angry, they get sad, they laugh, and they cry, and they share their secrets with you if you stop to listen and spend time with them. They feel like people in the truest sense that a game like this can portray, which is Persona 4's excellent writing showing through all the time. Sometimes I caught myself wishing for more social interaction with these people than dungeon crawling and monster fighting. The writing and the voice acting is that good. How you spend your time and with whom will determine what sort of ending you get. As the themes of the game constantly hammer into you the ideas of truth over lies, seeing through the fog, and unraveling the mystery of the kidnappings, there are actually like 6 endings to this game, I think. There's even a bad ending that ends the game prematurely. But Persona 4 is one of those rare RPGs that despite all the repetition of battles, the bog standard high school simulator, and the constant money worries and stuff, it feels real. Inaba is a town that breathes. You'll get to know its inhabitants. You'll worry about them, learn their habits, and want to soothe their woes. It's hard to get a true emotional response out of gamers these days, but after spending 100+ hours with these people, I genuinely cared about their fates. I wondered what would happen to them in the future. When you're 60 hours in and a little girl screams at her father, it hurts your heart. When you're 80 hours in and one of your party members is having an existential crisis, you'll want to hug them and tell them it's okay. Persona 4 is not a harmless cardboard cutout JRPG, and that is really high praise in the PlayStation 2's endless sea of JRPGs. It's a piece of art. The interweaving stories, the massive cast of characters, and the ever-increasing stakes throughout the plot make you feel like you really are a part of this world. What you do matters. You have so much agency in what sort of story you want to tell with your character that you can't help but have a great time. Do you want to go fishing? Do you want to go shopping? Flirt with half your classmates? Do you want to play basketball, or would you rather play soccer? Do you want to be a band geek? Do you want to be more spiritual? Do you want to be closer to your family? Do you want to spend more time with your girlfriend or your male friend who's struggling with his sexuality? Do you think it's important to know who your best friend's real parents are, or would you rather prove your magical might against a powerhouse magic user? Persona 4 lets you do all that, and while you certainly won't have time to do it all in one playthrough because of all the time limits, the choices are vast, and the story that you want to invest in will make your gaming experience all the richer. If you're an RPG fan in general, Persona 4 is a must-play. Put it on the shelf next to Dungeons & Dragons, Skyrim, and The Witcher. It's a gold standard of the genre.